Hi guys, welcome back to the Humble Sequin. We're doing the home edition. So you're in my crazy studio, which is always overwhelming. So welcome to my life. My name's Maple Rose, if you don't already know me. And today I'm going to talk you through how to make your very own vegan feather fan. So if you don't know what a feather fan looks like, it's one of these puppies. We're going to be making one of these, and I'll explain how you can make a set. This project's perfect for anyone who can't afford to buy a set of feather fans. We do honestly understand that they're quite expensive. Or if you're vegan like myself, and you're a bit unhappy about the cruelty that comes into creating one of these, I have just turned a blind eye, to be honest. And most of the feathers that I source from my props are all vintage. So I know that it didn't die before I was born type thing. But this is a great alternative to the feather fan, and if you have some ethical issues with the creation of these. So what you're going to need to make this fun project is an old cardboard box, something that at least has a bit of the corrugation on the inside, so it's quite thick. You need some paper, preferably A3, so I'm going to use some old posters, but you can use A4, and I'll show you how to do that too. I'm trying to use props from around my house just to save on recycling. You need some tie, some tape, pen, pencil, and hopefully a metal ruler. Now we're going to be doing some cutting, and an X-Acto knife or a Stanley knife that some people use. Again, we're cutting, and so we'll also need a board of some sort. All right, so what you're going to do is start by unfolding this box. Now, oddly, I have things in here. Obviously didn't prepare with bobby pins and stuff in. So we're going to unfold it. Oh, look at all those bobby pins! Winning at life! It's almost too big. It's taking up a lot of space. Now, a normal fan, we're just going to do some measurements. A normal fan, we have these things that are called staves. Now, the staves are what hold the shape. And that's what you hold, and that's the strongest part of the fan and the most common to break. These are normally made out of plastic, sometimes they're made out of bamboo, but today we're going to make them out of cardboard. So the length of one of these puppies is 25 centimeters, and the width is 2 centimeters. We're going to kind of play on that concept, probably making them a little bit bigger for our staves, a little bit bigger, just because we're using materials that are not as strong as plastic. So getting your handy piece of cardboard, you're going to measure out a nice long rectangle. I'm going to do 1 inch wide. That helps that my pencil broke right when I did it. So let's go to our trusty pen. We're going to go to 1 inch wide by 20, let's do 20, let's stick with 20, maybe 28 centimeters. So you're going to cut out 12 of these triangles. Now what you're going to do is you're going to draw them all out first. I find that the easiest. This is my old architecture brain coming in handy. And you can almost literally just mark out 12. It's not 12, but you can see that I've marked them all out along there. And then I'm going to mark them all out along here. And then I'm going to connect the dots. Alright, so as you can see, I've drawn out 12 long rectangles. So now I'm going to sit and cut them out. Now how I'm going to do that is I'm going to get my trusty X-Acto knife, and I'm going to use my metal ruler, and I'm going to use the ruler as a guide to cut the cardboard. And it might take a couple of runs through to get a nice clean line. You want to do it a couple of times. So there we go. We got a little rectangle of all these fun lines, and we can get rid of all of that on the side. So we are going to use our ruler. You're going to line the ruler up along one of the lines, and then using the ruler as a guide, cut each of those staves out. So you should have 12. I repeat, 12 staves. All right, so we've got 12 staves all cut out nice and fancy. Now this next step is optional, but when you look at a fancy feather fan, you can see that the staves are rounded on the bottom. I'm going to do that as well, just because it is going to be easier on the hands. Now, so I've just found something round. It's actually a makeup item of mine. I'm going to get my marker and I'm going to line the bottom up with the cardboard, and so I get these two corners kind of cut off. It's not perfect, but it's just to kind of make it a nice round feeling edge on your bit. And then just with a pair of scissors, it's probably easier with scissors than it is with the X-Acto knife. You're just going to cut off that rounded edge so it's round. Yeah? You're going to do that to all of your staves. No, I had some fun little bits I could have used. Oh well. This is the last one. We're going to just cut out that shape. It just has to be rough. And now we have all rounded edges on them. There we go. So you're going to thread your needle, put a knot on the end. We're going to use materials at home that we have. And we're just going to, oh, excuse me. We're just going to sew them all on as if we're making like a kid's macaroni necklace. Now I think we're going to go over it again. So go back along and through the holes. You can kind of find them if you just kind of pull them apart a little bit. You haven't put a knot in the end yet, so you should be able to tighten it as we go. This is just going to add a little extra strength to it because it's made out of cardboard. And you could probably do that a couple of times. I'm just going to do it once. I think that's probably enough. Tie a knot in the end. And then you've got kind of a makeshift rivet with some string. Yeah? So there's a fan, there's a string in the end holding it all together. It can still open and close. And it's loose. Now the next bit we're going to do is we're going to string all of these staves together so they keep their shape. And now it also depends on the hand you're making in terms of what stave sits on top. So if you're making a right-handed fan, the furthest right stave should be on the top of the pile, and if you're making the furthest left should be the one on the pile. That's how you have a set. You can unstring and restring if you get that wrong. That just can be done. I have done it many times with real fans. Alright, so you get strung, put a knot on the end of that. And then we're going to, I'm almost going to show it on this first so I can show you how I'm doing it. We're going to punch a hole through cardboard, pull it all the way through, and then you're going to wrap around and punch another hole in. So you have like a little loop, and then you're going to push thread your thread through that loop, tighten it a bit more, and then right before it's tied again, you're going to find that loop you just did and then go back up through it. And so you create a knot. Yeah? It's probably a bit hard to see, There are many YouTube tutorials on this, but I'll do it one more time on a different piece of cardboard that I can put up to the... And you're going to do this about 2 to 3 inches away from the top of the staves. Maybe I will just do it on the staves. So you're going to get your staves, you're going to punch a hole. I'm going to do the inside about, 3 inches down. Feed it on through. I'm going to loop it around, go through the same hole that I just went through. And once I have that little loop, I'm just going to tighten it. Yeah, I have that little loop. I'm going to go through that loop. And then this loop that I have here, I'm going to go through that again. And I've created a knot. Yeah? So you're going to do that on each one. So then, nicely spaced apart, you're going to, at the same distance away from the top of the stave, punch a hole through the next one. You're going to find a nice spacing that you like, loop it around. Feed through that loop, that you just made. And again through the one that you just created. Now if you're struggling with this, you can always have individual pieces and cut with different knots to make that perfect strength. So you can see that that's spread apart and it's laced through. And you just keep going one by one. Because these staves are fat, I'm keeping them pretty close together, but that's completely up to you. You want a fan to be about between 120 and 180 centimeters wide, like open. So, and that's all completely up to you. Like my other fans go all the way to 180 or almost. So again, completely up to you in terms of your how wide you want them. But you just want to make sure that the spacing is pretty precise. So as you can see, they're slowly being laced open, and I have the right one on the top, so my thumb is going to hold it. This is actually going to be a very closed fan. Pretty close, but hey, it's just a demonstration. I recommend giving yourself a bit more spacing than I did in between. So maybe give yourself a little bit more when it's pulled tight. You want it to look like that, not pulled tight. And in that last one, you just loop it around, like do your loop around, and then you can just tie a knot. Because we're making holes into cardboard, a knot will suffice and hold it all. Cut off the excess string, and then you've got a fan. Yeah! So it's a bit smaller than a normal fan, but you also don't want it to be too flimsy. But ooh, that's a fan. Oh, yeah, fan. Wow. Whoa. Okay. All right, let's make the feathers. So what I recommend is you use a piece of A3 paper, and you're gonna kind of slice it right down the middle. Do it really haphazard. But if you do this, maybe you could even do like 3 per paper. Let's do 3 per paper. So cut each long piece into 3 kind of even slices to create our feathers. So I'm doing this really roughly. Doesn't matter so much because we're actually going to draw the shape of a feather on top of it, but we've got a nice long strip. Now we're just going to put it up against our fun cardboard bit, and I'm thinking we're going to place our feathers probably about a finger's length away from the base. So you're going to tape that up after we draw a fun shape. So knowing that we're going to use probably about 6 inches worth of the paper to be on the stave, about that much, we have all this extra space to create a fun feather technique. So I'm going to just draw a line up the middle because most feathers have a stem, and I'm just going to then add like bubbles and around top. I might do kind of a round ear. Yeah. This is just very rough penis looking shape. Not a very attractive penis. Get your scissors and you're just going to cut out a rough shape. And once you do one, you can kind of use it as a guide to do the others. I've got like a rough kind of odd shape happening. And then sticking it on. Oh, I probably could go a bit further up. Yeah, sticking about halfway. I'm going to get my tape. And I'm literally just gonna tape it on to the stave. I'd probably do this a little bit nicer, but I have to admit my materials at home in isolation are limited, and I'm sure yours are too, so I didn't want to make this too difficult, but I'm literally just taping that piece of paper to the back of the stave, and another piece, I'm going to cut it short, a little short one, to the front, and we've got a feather hanging off. Woo! And let's keep going. We'll make another one, another feather. I'm just going to rough guide it now. Yeah, sticking it on the same side. Oh, that's going to be an issue, isn't it? I'm just going to put a little slit in where that piece of string is, so we can fit it along the side. And it can be evenly on my, I'm just cutting a slit in it so the string can fit around it. And we can feed that feather through. Oh, it fell, but we can feed it through. You can kind of see there. And then again, we're gonna tape it. So we've taped it to the back, and then just have a tiny little piece on the front. Yeah, so I got 2 feathers. Woohoo! And let's keep going. Feather number 3. Alright, so now all of our feathers are stuck on, but of course, because they're paper, they've got a funny droopiness to them. Now I've got a solution. Bear with me. I think it looks pretty cool, that whoop-de-doo. It's pretty epic, but I will be back. Alright, what we're gonna do to add a bit more strength is we're gonna add some handy-duty cable ties. We're going to literally tape them from the back of the stave all the way up to as far as you can get. So you're just literally going to get your handy tape. which I have put. Oh yeah, it fell on the floor. Now just tape that all along my feather, which means it sticks up a little bit more. So just do that on all of your feathers. Fun. God, tape is messy. Last but not least, and that's a feather fan done and made out of paper. And it works very similarly. You still do all of the tricks. You will have to watch your head a little bit. You will have to watch bending a little bit. But you can always tape that all up. And voila! So go have fun, play with your fans, and enjoy making a paper feather fan. Thanks, guys! It's a fan. Oh, yeah. Fan. Wow. Wow. Okay.